Let me clear my throat. Yeah. Oh, that's better. That's better. Somebody pass around the offering. Cause I'm always preaching on tracks, you feel me? I'm out to get paid for it. Sermon of the day. You right where you supposed to be, baby. Informants informing, that information forming. Important you get a portion of fortune pouring. Confession, fortunately, blessings on now they snoring. You mellow, so focused on scoring. Got you underperforming. I never expect something, never assume nothing. Judging me for my past, but that's why I'm triumphant. I don't demand, I know where I stand like engineer hands. Watch how my life pans. That game plan, show out like a jotter, pop out like a cutter. Telling the quick rock, skipping the course, squares like hopscotch. This gonna be my mood to my beat drop. Putting my boogie shoes in my diddy boots, ain't no stop. I'ma make the rest of my life live. Yeah, I'ma make the rest of my life live. Gonna make the rest of my life the best of my life. Yeah, I'ma make the rest of my life live. I'ma make the rest of my life live. Gonna make the rest of my life the best of my life. Congratulations on the celebration. I know I'm dope without a need of a validation. No congratulations on no celebration. I know I'm dope without a need of a validation. Yeah. If having hope is dangerous, call me Evil Knievel. You leading on the wrong side, living with peasant needles. So lethal, made Shane Black wanna write a sequel. Cause I snuggle my dream till it's seen as illegal. And I still probably will, cause I can never give up. I got my goals calling me, how could I never pick up? Either we make up or just break up. With the state kids get the rake up. Yeah, selfish, I'ma cake up if I don't shake me to wake up. Let my depression catapult me to succession. Shine a light on my imperfections like a projection. Every struggle a lesson, your issues ain't your oppression. Never got a question, keep pushing me to progression like I'ma make the rest of my life live. Yeah, I'ma make the rest of my life live. Gonna make the rest of my life the best of my life. Yeah, I'ma make the rest of my life live. I'ma make the rest of my life live. Gonna make the rest of my life the best of my life. Congratulations on the celebration. I know I'm dope without a need of a validation. No congratulations on no celebration. I know I'm dope without a need of a validation. Yeah. Fortunately, blessings on now they snoring. You mellow, so focused on scoring. Got you underperforming. I never expect something, never assume nothing. Judging me for my past, but that's why I'm triumphant. I don't demand, I know where I stand.
Hello, everyone. We're having some technical difficulties, but our wonderful host, Lady Dawn B, will be back as soon as she can. So thank you for joining us and being patient. But if you're watching us, you can send us some love in the chat so we can see who's there tonight with us.
All right. Well, good evening, everybody. I'm so sorry. The devil's busy. We must be getting ready to have a really good show because I was fine until.
All right.
So we have some backup going on. I'm so sorry. So we're gonna get it together and we're gonna go ahead and have this discussion. That's what it is. This discussion is freeing. That's what it is. And so uh we just gonna be here together. So, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Thursday Night Bravo with Sheila. Thank you for tuning in. I am your Thursday night host, Lady Dawn B, Minister Dawn, Elder Dawn, whichever Dawn you know me by. And I am always so honored and privileged to share the captain's chair on this night as we continue having our ladies' chats. It's not just for the ladies, but just a good space to have to share some conversation. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in on tonight one more time, and we are going to have a great talk. I'm telling you, this must really be something because enemy's really mad. He must really be. He don't want people to be free. That's what it is. But that's all right. We're gonna get free anyway tonight. So as always, we want to give honor to our Queen Bee, the Queen of Bravo herself, Pastor Sheila Ingram, my Auntie Bravo, my mentor in these YouTube podcast streets, who navigates, helps me keep my whole life together while we here. That's right. I don't know if that's
All
not
right.
right, right? Okay. I'm trying. Do the best that I can. And on tonight, in spite of Amen. This is I'm just more determined. I'm gonna be honest. All day today, I've been feeling some kind of way,
Me
and
too.
you don't usually like to use that term, but something's just like resting really heavy on my spirit. Now, I tried. I'm gonna tell y'all how busy this is. Okay, we just gonna keep it truth and real. We're here. We have real talk and real resolutions. I've been on 3 devices tonight. Three: my laptop, my tablet, and my phone. Now, it's a real problem if none of them working, but that's okay. We got backup. This is one of the times where I'm glad me and my mom are in the same space, sharing the same space. And, God always has a ram in the bush. He always makes a way. So we are here tonight to have this discussion. And I'm really glad that y'all are here with me. So on tonight, I want to welcome back my sister girl. Um, she is just a blessing. She's just amazing. I love her dearly. And she is in the person of Tanya Williams, also known AKA T Bless, in the house. Come on and greet the people, Tanya.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for being
You on mute, mama.
patient. Oh, hmm. Can anybody, can you hear me? It's saying that I'm not muted.
Oh, it's not you, it's me. See, again, there's something going on over here on this side. I'm the problem tonight. It's me. I'm the problem. It's me.
It's okay. It's all good. Like you said, this is a word that needs to go out, and the enemy's trying to block it, but
My
not gonna happen.
God.
So we go forth.
Right. I never had this many problems at one time. So
Okay.
welcome, Tanya. Welcome as usual. She is one of our regulars. She's on the Bravo squad. She's one of the hostesses of this night that keeps the conversation flowing. And I love her and I appreciate her insight, her perspective, and her authenticity. So we're gonna have great conversation. People were asking for you. They was like, what happened to Tia? I was like, she's coming back. We just, sometimes I gotta give a little pause.
Thank you.
And then we had to let the men speak. But we are all in the house tonight. We are missing our bravette, Elaine, but that's all right. She'll be back with us soon. And we want to welcome back. We getting it together over here because she need to be, she need to be seen. So we are welcoming back. Also, we have tonight my mama in the person of Pastor Rosa. That's her. Probably got to lean up some, mama. Okay, well, greet the people, Mama. Greet the
Hi,
people.
everybody.
All right. So it is the trio on tonight, and we are going to try to have this conversation on tonight. I'm going to try to switch devices again, so y'all bear with me through it, but we're going to get through it, okay? All right. I'm going to try not to preach, act like we in church. Your son is saying hi, Mom. And I want to greet the people. We have Anae, who is one of our the number one bravette is Anae. And we thank her for being in the house on tonight. We have my girl Tamisha Bennett. Lady T is in the place. We have M. Mills in the place. We have my brother 204, also known as Minister Donald, in the place. And we want to say welcome to everybody and welcome to those who are up in the exclusive area that we may not see or might not pop in the chat. But I want you to do me a favor and touch the trio on tonight, which is to like, subscribe, and share. Like, subscribe, and share. Let's be the trio ministry on tonight and get this out into the atmosphere so that we can have this great conversation and share it along. Okay, so here we go. And I'm sorry, I promise you, sometimes we just got to roll. This is what happens. um this is what happens. So I don't want to belabor fighting with the technology, but we want to make sure it's right. So I apologize for tonight, y'all. But tonight we have a great conversation that I want to start. I know that we probably won't be able to get through it all on tonight, so we might just have to have a part two. But I felt this was a very important topic to discuss. Reason being is relationships are hard enough on their own. The number one relationship I find that is difficult is a relationship that we have with ourselves. Sometimes, there's a war within our own members. Sometimes we try to figure us out. But when it comes to the relationship space and trying to partner with someone or partnering with someone, adding someone into your life it creates a whole different dynamic with different issues, with different purpose, with different movement, and we have to navigate our way through that. One of the major things that we find is in the selection process, I want to say. Now, I'm a church girl. I was raised in church, for a believer of God. So we're gonna be a little biblical on tonight, and it's how we are, and there's no shame in the game, but I know everybody may not be of that nature. So y'all work with us, bear with us, stay with us as we have this conversation from this perspective. Now, I don't know about you, and I'm pretty sure, then again, maybe so. But at the point where we started dating or getting into relationships, and people started sharing more of the Bible from a biblical standpoint, one of the things I remember, one of the stories that they always focused on was Boaz and Ruth. Did you have that as well, Tanya? Did you find it?
Yes. And I feel like, I don't know, maybe the last 10 years, the whole saying started, I'm looking for my Boaz. I'm trying to find my Boaz. And everybody started, pushing that narrative that they wanted to find their Boaz.
Yes. And I agree. I mean, got you by a few years, but I feel like somebody preached one really good sermon about Boaz, and everybody took off with it. Now all of a sudden, Boaz became the poster boy for everyone's husband. He became the model of who we should all be looking for.
Relationship
Now,
goals.
right? What say you, Mom?
Yep. Sounds true. Sounds right. Sounds right.
We are so sorry if y'all bear with us with our visual on tonight. Okay, so you just be able to. We love y'all though. We love y'all. Um, but we're gonna try to fix it and get it right before the show is over, because some of my technology, something gonna work. We decree it to be so. Something gonna work tonight. because we want to do everything in excellence as we do, but nonetheless, we ain't gonna be disturbed. We gonna keep it moving, right? Because it's important that the message gets out. So, with that being said, a lot of us as women, as young ladies, we focused on who Boaz is and who Boaz was, and trying to find this man like Boaz, you know. And for those who don't know, and I feel, and I don't want to get too churchy, but the story we've been taught is so wrong. It's from a whole wrong angle, honestly, because Boaz, he was a wealthy man. He owned the field that Ruth was gleaning in. But the truth of the matter is that the story, and we know that, you know, those who may not know, the story is, you know, he saw her, he liked her, he eventually married her, and they lived happily ever after, is what, you know, what we'll just say. Now, because Boaz was a man of wealth, he was a man of honor. He was a man who had a good name. You know, he was well off. He was good looking. All of the things that, you know, we tend to put into the fine package that we would want a man to be. He was, you know, honorable, respectful, again, wealthy. He had land. He had, you know, workers. He had homes. All of these things. And so we've been taught that that's the kind of man that we should look for. But the truth of the matter is that even with that, Boaz, the story of Boaz and Ruth, the story as is posed in the Bible about Ruth, is not about the love story. It's really about, they call him, if you really do your research, and I don't mean to take the long way around, but this is what I'm saying. I wanted to really explain it so that we can get some understanding, because I really believe that we have missed out on so many good men, or you know, men with great potential in their potential space, because we are holding out for this perfected person of Boaz. And is Boaz and Ruth really the relationship goal story that we should be chiming after, that we should be, you know, looking after? Is that what we should all be looking for? um and if so, are you a suitable Ruth? Because Ruth came with some things also. She didn't just show up because this is who she wanted, you know, and what she wanted, but she had some things to offer as well. So I'm going to pause here and just ask you, Tanya, do you think that that we should all, that Boaz and Ruth is the ideal relationship goal story that we should all be going for?
Well, I think we need, you know, I guess a clear definition of what the story is. So we know that, you know, he was wealthy, you know, she laid at his feet, you know, he married her. And, you know, a lot of times women are thinking about, okay, wealth, good looks, and being taken care of is
Mm-hmm.
something that, you know, it sounds ideal and it sounds good. But what is the other historical context around the Boaz and Ruth story? Because some of those things, there are many people who will not fall into the Boaz category, because and they will not fall into the Ruth category. So yelling, you know, relationship goals, and I want to be, you know, I want to have someone like that, like you said. Do we even understand what that means? Because, you know, there's power and death in the life of the tongue, and sometimes people are wishing for something and they don't even know what they're really wishing for. I want my Boaz, or my Boaz, but what does that really even mean? It's more than just the fact that he had wealth, and more than the fact he was good looking. What was the real historical context and meaning around what that storyline is? Because there are many other, you know, biblical couples that people may fall into those kind of categories,
Right.
instead of just, you know, everybody saying they wanted their Boaz. So I think that's the question we have to answer, because people may not even understand what was the real context around who Boaz really was, and who,
Mm-hmm.
you know, why did Ruth lay down at his feet and he chose her to then, you know, be his wife.
Right. I agree. What say you, Mom?
Well, first of all, it's not that we're supposed to find him. It's that he's supposed to find us. That's part of the truth of the story. He finds us, and her laying at his feet is really, a lot of people might get some sexual connotation there or some type of submissive, but it wasn't. It was cultural. It was a cultural thing to do. Naomi told Ruth to lay at his feet for a reason. I don't know the every iota of that, but I know it's cultural. And so the thing is, she obeyed what her mother-in-law told her to do because that was their tradition. And actually, Boaz was not the next in line to marry Ruth. The whole thing is that Ruth's sons and husband died, and so then she was left with the two daughter-in-laws.
Too far.
Hmm?
Right.
Right. And so they wanted to follow her, but she told them, I have no more sons. I'm too old. And even if I married someone tonight, by the time I would have a child, you're not going to wait. So she told them to go back, but Ruth decided to stay with Naomi instead of going back to her own people. And in the process of that, Ruth noticed uh, she knew the custom. The custom was she was a widow, and in the Jewish religion that means something which like I said, I don't know every iota of it. But Boaz was really not the next one in line. Um, I do know part of the Jewish custom is if if a young man passes away, if a husband passes away, and he has a brother, that brother is in line to marry the widow for the purpose of raising sons. So that's what that was all about. But Boaz was not the next in line. The person that was in line, he didn't want to do the right thing, or his character he wasn't a good person. So Boaz did the right thing by Ruth, which had something to do with her lying at his feet. I think it had to do with servitude or something, not so much servitude as it was humility, and that's how that, but what I've been taught and what I've gotten out of it is, God has someone, the right person for you, not just someone, but the right person for you. A lot of us are waiting for a Boaz, and Boaz is just a prototype, of that right man for you. It's not even about him having the money and the looks and that right person for you. And that's what you want, because looks are going to fade. He's human just like we are. He might get sick, and he may not be 62 yet, so you get his social security or whatever, but the whole thing to me is that you're waiting for that right person. He may not be handsome, but he's the right person, and he was a godly man. And that's not what a lot of women look for. They do look for the money and the status and all of that, but and they leave out God. And if you don't have God, you don't have a you're headed for divorce anyway. It's not going to work, so that's just my take on it.
Well, thank you for that share, Mom, and thank you for your share, Tanya. I agree that the way a lot of us have been taught, as far as our relationship goals, or our model of a husband, you really only hear about Boaz most of the time, and like you said, it's because it's the money and being taken care of, and all those things that come along with that, someone being wealthy, prestigious, and being able to take care of you. And you should, those things are important. They are valid, but really the story of Boaz, again, is not a love story. He's referred to really as the kinsman redeemer, because he redeemed the land that was owed to Naomi, who was married to Boaz's family. And the whole point of it is that Ruth was her daughter-in-law, and as my mom explained, how that relationship went, and Naomi decided to stay Ruth decided to stay with Naomi and follow with her. But her sister-in-law decided she was going to take, well, she was like, I'm out. You know? She was like, I'm out, you know. And she's like, carry on. I'm gonna go find me another husband. I serve my son. I am by God and by culture. I'm free through death. I serve. So then we parted and I'm done. Ruth was like, nope, where am I going? Because Ruth was a Moabite. She was like, your people are my people, you know, your God is our God. So she wasn't even really a part of, was supposed to be a part of what, you know, was really a part of it. She chose to stay with her. And it was saying that he noticed, and I'm again just thinking these points are so important because we need to understand, like you said, the backstory as to what makes Boaz who he is and why, you know. And the truth is, we all don't qualify for that. You know, we don't qualify to be a Ruth, because truthfully, if we were in her situation, would you stay?
Right. And
Are you
listen.
able to stay? Right. Go ahead.
And listen.
Right. And knowing she can't have, now you are young, you are in your prime, you know, you still got a lot of living to do. Naomi was older, her husband and both her sons died. All she had, like she said, listen, Ruth, go on with yourself now, because if you stay here, like even if I meet, you know, the next one tomorrow, it's gonna be a long time for you to wait for him to get, first of all, for me to get pregnant, then to have the baby, then to groom him. Right. If it's a boy, right. You know, there's no guarantees. Are we willing to be in that space? Would you really have stayed in that? I know I can't say that I would have. I don't know that I would have. I might have been like the sister-in-law and be like, well, you know what?
Bless you.
We keep it. I'm gonna love you for over here. I'm gonna pray for you. May the Lord watch between. But, you know, but it's the sense of loyalty that she had to her. So we have to understand again who Ruth is, and I hope this is it's pulling the pieces together. And the reason why I said, you know, it's Boaz syndrome is because it's a series of things that we have been taught and created to go after within the culture of the church. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that. If this is where you are suited to be, that's fine. And again, the things that Boaz did, every man should do, is what you should look for in a man to do. But at the same time, we as women, we have to be willing to take the necessary steps to be suitable for this type of man. Now, Ruth in and of herself was not, because again, this was not her culture. She learned it, she adopted it because this is who she married and this is where she stayed. So she had Naomi to guide her along the way. Again, the story is really about Naomi. It is, you know, there's some love involved, but the story is about more than love. It's about two people, but I say which two people? And because Naomi is really the thread. She's the reason why they got together. Now, I say for us women, we have to be more open-minded and not so narrow in our thinking sometimes, because you may not always get everything that you want the way that you want it. But we are so heavily independent that we really don't listen to our elders anymore. Pause there. Because, and we know if you parent, you know, you have kids, my son's 21 and he thinks that what he's going through is the first thing that has ever been going through. And he's the first one to ever go through it. So I can't tell him nothing, or I don't know what I'm talking about. And I'm like, Jalen, you just got here. You brand fresh new 21 years old. I've been walking this earth for 54 years. Bro, you cannot catch up to my experience, you know, and it takes for us to listen to other people. So Tanya, would you say if it was you, would you be in a position to be willing to listen to the elder women in your life, even when the answer that they give you may not be what you like?
I think it depends on the situation, because I think about myself. There are some elder women that I definitely listen to. I listen to the things my mom told me, and I would sit at my grandmother's feet and listen. So, and I grew up in a church where we had not only a male pastor, but we had a female, pastor as well. And so there would be certain people that I would listen to if they gave me advice on something and said, okay, this is the direction you need. We are praying that, you go in this direction, or, it was more or less like if they was like, they prayed about something and, they would want to give me some direction on something. Yes. But that whole situation with her, waiting, and especially because she gave her the context around, I'm not gonna have, if you wait,
To let you know.
I'm just letting you know this might not work out for you, because ultimately that's what she was telling her. This may not work out for you. But I could see how there, she could have been afraid because she was not of that culture. So she probably thought, well, where am I gonna go for real? Where am I going? So I could see that part of it, maybe thinking, well, maybe I should stay, because where am I going? This is all I know. And she had a certain type of respect and love for Naomi. So I could see that part of it. Like, if I had a certain type of relationship and love and respect for the person where I trusted them, because for me, it probably would have been a trust thing. If I respected and trusted, yes. But if the relationship had not bonded well, probably not. So it would have depended on the type of relationship I had built with the person that's giving me the advice or giving me the direction. Yeah.
And that's a real point. This is where it speaks to, again, relationships. We have to be careful and mindful of those that we connect with, and be mindful of those who have rule over us, basically, overall. No, you can't trust every bit of advice. You have to watch a person's life, I believe. I don't think I would want to listen to anyone who had never been through anything, because how can you guide me through something that you haven't experienced yourself? And it's not to say that you have no knowledge at all, or maybe couldn't give me a healthy perspective, or some nuggets in there. But it's really important that we take the time to listen to and through those who are older than us, those who have been through some things. True story. I just had a conversation last night with one of my coverings, and it was somewhat it was a good conversation, but it was a tight conversation. And she is like my Naomi, and she had to tell me some things that I'm sharing some stuff with her, and I felt the conversations, taking a little bit, like it just started to turn a little bit. And I was like, okay, but I'm still sharing, you know. But I had to hear what she was saying. And it wasn't everything that I wanted to hear, but I trust her to know that even though the no's that she's giving me right now are, they were like hurtful to my feelings, but my feelings will get over it. And we have to set ourselves in that hard place, and a lot of us as women, again, you're talking about, Boaz and Ruth, and everybody wants to be Ruth, and you want to get your Boaz and all of that. But are you really willing to sit at the feet of a Naomi and listen and do what they're telling you to do? Because she walked her through what she needed to do. She told her what time to go and glean, how to go and glean, where to go. She gave her instructions how to behave, how to carry herself. Now we as women, we like, look, I don't work too hard in becoming me. For somebody else to tell me what to do and who I am is, I don't need you to tell me how to get a man. Sometimes we might.
Right.
Some of us might, because we don't always get it right. you know. But because we have been put in this position where we've really only been focusing on Boaz and what he can offer, a lot of us women have gone without the flip side of that, which is becoming suitable for him. And that's what Naomi was doing. She was teaching her how to be suitable for him so that he would notice her. And, Naomi and Hosea, not Hosea, I'm sorry, because that's another story. That's the other flip side we're gonna get to. Naomi and Boaz had a conversation with us, and they were explaining to, like, I know this is the land that's due to you, and I want to do right, and I would gladly marry her, but I can't because by law, by culture, we have to follow what it is. But I really wanted to say, and Mom, I want you to jump in. I wanted to say, we have to start to rethink some of the things that we've been taught. We have to start to reconsider some of the ways that we have taken on, and find out. We have to measure now. I believe, like, we really have to be mindful in measuring where we're at. So jump in, Mom.
Um, One of the things that we have to remember too, that the story tells us, is that Boaz had begun to leave whatever was in the field. He had begun to leave things for her, and as she went home to talk to Ruth about Naomi, rather. And Ruth went home to talk to Naomi about how her day was. She was sharing, she got extra today. And so Ruth said, well, who left this or whatever? And then this is why we say he'll find you. We don't wait for men to give us attention. We start doing all kinds of things to get his attention. He's already observing. A friend of mine, I forgot how old she was at that time, but she was still a virgin and everything. She was in her 40s and everything. Jean, and we went to school. We started going to college together. And when she met the person that would be her husband, she started changing the way she dressed. And so one day she came to school, and I was like, wow, her whole attire was different, and I didn't say anything, but when I saw her and Reggie smiling, I said, oh, okay, her whole, everything changed, the thing is that she changed after she started getting this man's attention. She wasn't trying to impress him before that, but a lot of us we don't do that, we go to, we get this, we get that, we get the weave, we get the eyelashes and the makeup and and the design of this. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but there's a message that we're giving to him, and the person that really is looking at us already saw what he wanted to see. You don't have to dress it up, just be you, because then he's going to expect that this is what is going to be there, all the time. But like Tanya said, for me, I'm looking at how Ruth must have paid a lot of attention to her mother-in-law, and her mother-in-law had to be a nice person too, in order for both these Moabite women to want to stay with her. So I mean that says a lot. I mean, and it's Tanya saying it has to do with your training. What were you gleaning what was she getting as she was walking with Ruth? It's the change. It's a change, and we do have to give her a lot of credit that she was willing to change from her culture and all of that to be what Ruth, to follow after her mother-in-law, even though there wasn't a son, so that says a lot to say. That says volumes about her character and what she was looking for.
I agree. I agree. And, again, and we have some comments, and I want to get to those too, but just to wrap up, what you were saying, we have to consider the fact, again, are we willing, would we as women, and are we willing to make that kind of move? Everybody's not built for that.
Mhm.
Everybody, like I said, the sister-in-law was like, I'm ghost, like, wish y'all well, but I'm out,
She was willing to
you know.
stay initially.
But at the end
But
of
the
the day,
second
she
time,
didn't. But she didn't. She said, "There's
too much.
nothing here for me. I'm going now. I've served my time." And that's some of us. I know I have girlfriends who be like, "Honey, not me." Be like, "No, I got some living to do, and I'm free again now. Child, bye." And and it's okay. I love the fact that she was real. She was real about it. She knew what she could handle. Right. We have to know what we can handle, because she might have stuck around for 2 days and been like, you know what, I can't do this. I was married, I'm not married, and now she ain't having no more kids. Like, what we doing here? So we have to know where we're at, and just in considering again who Boaz and Ruth are and this relationship, and really, is this the relationship goals that we should be pushing towards? I know it may seem a little left, and I know, again, I said we was going to be stirring the pot today, but I think it's just so important, because some of us are aiming for goals that really are not, I don't want to say they're not attainable for us, but it's not the direction that we should be going in. Everybody's direction is different. Again, everyone should, there's some basic principles within every man that we should be looking for. But we have to make sure that we are suitable for what we want. And what we want is suitable for us. If it's not assignment, I don't want it. I can't do no more invitations. I can't, because it's just, I can't do no gap fillers and all that. But I want to get to some comments. Tamisha Bennett mentioned earlier the relationship. Again, talking about the relationship between Boaz and Ruth. The relationship was designed to show God's love for us, divinely orchestrated to graft us into the beloved. It definitely is a relationship. Again, Boaz is really the kinsman redeemer. So, how God is as redeems us, what he's doing to redeem us back. It was, so there's that connection. Then Donald Brathwaite to a four said Boaz was a worthy man, a proven man of character that women do fall in love with, excuse me, in a man that would appreciate, I'm not sure what he's saying, appreciate. So LG, wouldn't this be considered a love, I guess saying a love story? His actions were honorable, even though it is partially a love story, I would say. But okay, his comment went on to say she didn't make it easy. He earned her love eventually by his actions, which is what women's expectations are. Now, I will say, I'm not saying that there was no love in the relationship, excuse me. Right, but it wasn't the predominant point of their relationship, of their connection. The point was Boaz was not going to marry Naomi. You know, here was Ruth. And there can be love. Love can grow, as we all know. We've been in love. We've loved many things and many people for many different reasons. But we have to focus on, again, I think, what is suitable for us and what are we suitable for, because this will help us from getting into situations that are above our head, where sometimes people are like, well, I thought you were this and I thought you were that. And we've said that, and I'm sure it's also been said about, well, I thought you was this way. Well, you're really that way. These are the things we have to consider. But when you stop and consider, what you are suitable for, really, it will help you make better choices. So Michelle Roach says, hi, Michelle. It says it's respect, love, and the trust in the person sharing the wisdom. I believe there she's referring to, as Tanya said earlier, about the Naomi Ruth relationship. And this is why I was saying, when it comes to the love, there is love in this story, but it's love for who? Because Ruth had a love for Naomi, which was why she stayed to take care of her. Boaz also had a love for Naomi, who was his family, because he was willing to take them in when the rest of the family, who was next in line, would not. And he was willing to do what was necessary. So the love, again, and this is why I say Naomi was really the key. She's the connector between the two of them. And she told Ruth what she needed to do to become suitable. And this is why it's so important that before we go searching for or trying to put ourselves in the eyesight, excuse me, the devil is really, really mad today.
It's all right.
It's okay. He can be mad. That's his job. I'm still going to do mine. But before we go looking to put ourselves in the way to be seen by someone, or by our Boaz, we need to make sure that we are suitable for what we're seeking. Do you agree?
Well, I think we need to be one factor we need to have is maturity, you know, because we could want something, but are you ready for that?
Right.
You know, are you willing to make the sacrifice? Are you mature enough to even understand? See, it's more than, you know, he's tall, dark, handsome, rich, whatever. It's more than, you know, I look like this, you know, and I walk like that, and you know, I wear these clothes. It's more than that. Are you drawn to the position, the title, or do you really understand the responsibility that goes with what this is that you want? And then this is what we need to do. We, you know, those of us, I say us, wanting God to send us a husband, what are we doing to prepare for his coming? You know, we want all this stuff, but what are you doing? Are you grooming you so that when he does come, you know, he don't have to look someplace else for a conversation? You know, that you know, when the honeymoon is over, you know, there's nothing for us to talk about because she can't relate. You know, so we need to be getting ourselves together, you know, to be our best person.
Right. What about you, Tanya? What do you say about the point of us being suitable? What that looks like?
No, I agree with Pastor Rosa. I think many people are ill prepared to be married in the first place. So everybody has a lot of work to do, and you know, many times people want the ideal of being married and what that fairy tale looks like, but they really are ill prepared to be married in the first place. Even when some people do premarital counseling, but even with that, you know, how many sessions that might be, it's still the real preparation of what it takes to be in a relationship, to be in a marriage. It's a lot of hard work. So that's why once a person gets in there, you know, they're like, this thing is whipping my tail, because they did not realize how absolutely difficult it would be to wake up every single day. And, you know, it goes back to something I said weeks and weeks ago, and thinking, what can I do to serve this person and make sure this person loves, you know, is feeling loved. Because now everyday monotony gets into place, and, you know, we go on to work, you know, people have kids or not, but work, and then everything just seems like it's over and over, doing the same thing over and over. And now it's like, oh my goodness, I'm here, but not realizing. And then when one little storm happens, people falling apart because again, people are not even mature enough. They're ill prepared to even be in a relationship such as marriage. I remember when I, you know, years ago, I was 27, when I got married, and, you know, thinking about people, you know, trying to give you advice. And I remember someone who, she was at the time, I was a new teacher and she was an AP, and she was giving me some personal advice, but I felt like, again, for me, I'm a person about trust. So if I didn't build a personal trusting relationship, I was thinking, who are you? Like, you tell me, you know, and I was like, it was, for me, I was like, you don't have the authority.
Too much.
You're doing too much. You don't have the authority to speak into my life and my situation. And sometimes, a person can feel like they can do that, but for me, relationship is everything. So if I had not built that, and I was very protective over, who was saying they're gonna pray for me and all those different things. So I'm like, you're trying to give me advice, and we don't even have that type of a bond and relationship where I feel like I could trust what you're saying to me.
Right.
So, but I agree with Pastor Rosa. Like, the whole story, there was trust there. They trusted her. They would not have at the beginning, if they didn't have love for Naomi, when everything happened, they both would have just been like, okay, bless you. We're going on our way.
Right. We out.
And that she gave them, that was important. And so, Ruth was able to listen, because a lot of times, like you said, Lady Dawn, sometimes, people don't want to take advice because they feel like they already know what they're doing. But had she not listened, she may not have gotten her expected answer. She would have sat there and waited for Naomi to give birth again. If she
Right. She'd be like, I'm sitting right here. It's okay. I'm good. I ain't got nothing else going on. Anyway, we all right. But see, it's important what you're saying, is that you have to have a trusted Naomi. You have to, like you said, you can't have everybody talking into you and speaking into you, but it's so key because Naomi helped prepare her to be, again, that suitable mate. And it doesn't take away, we're not suited for everything, and we're not suitable for everybody. I keep saying, I am built a certain way. I'm a solid size 24, okay? All day, every day, from morning till night, top to bottom, in this 5'5" frame. I'm not suitable for everybody. And that's okay, in that perspective, or in that area. I'm just saying, I'm in transparent. That's me. And I'm okay with not being suitable for everybody, because I don't have to be. I'm not trying to get everybody. But the one that is for me, that's the only one that I'm concerned about being suitable for. And we sometimes try to fit ourselves into spaces that are not created for us. And we're trying to be this woman that this man needs, and this woman that this man needs. Right. I'm every woman. It's all in me. And then we are a mess. So we have to really take inventory on what makes us suitable, and be willing to take that trusted advice and guidance from those who are covering us, because that's what Naomi did. She was covering, she was covering her, because it will set us up, like you said, for our expected end. So thank you. That was a great share. And I want to read some more comments. I believe, where we at? Donald Brathwaite says, okay, so what is suitable for women who meet a Boaz? What do y'all want? And I think we kind of covered that a little bit just now. I think the point of what is suitable, it depends on the man and the situation. It depends on the relationship. Um, I don't believe there's any cookie cutter black and white answer for that, because everybody's need is different. But there are basic core things that is needed in every relationship. That love, the honor, the respect, the trust, the stability. Tanya, I love, when you make the point, and when you said it weeks ago about leading with serving, leading with, and I've learned to switch my thinking, that when I get into a relationship, for me, I don't want you to come tell me all the things that you believe I am. I don't want you, oh, I love your eyes and I love this. And I don't want to, I don't want to hear all of that. I want you to look at me from a perspective of, this is what I want to do for you. This is what I'm coming into your life to add to, not because I want you to, because that's the way I'm looking. I'm saying, what can I add to you? What can we add to each other? And I believe that's one of the points that helps make us suitable for one another. And as you said before, marriage is a whole lot of work that, we think we want, because we see people. Don't be fooled by the folk that coming to church all pretty and they on each other's arm and holding hands now. Don't be fooled, because they the same ones that just got finished arguing, cussing, and fussing in the car in the parking lot, and they had to straighten out their suit on the way in. I get nervous when I see the folk coming in smiling the same way every Sunday. I'm like, is that practiced or is that for real? Like, what is that? So don't be envious. And what I've learned about marriage, and in these type relationships, really is that people say, well, count the cost, count up the cost. Well, it's really hard to count up the cost of marriage, because a lot of things that you find in marriage, a lot of the cost in marriage, you won't know until you're in it.
Yes.
You don't know what you're getting into until you get in it. Now, it's one thing to be married. Being married takes one day and one ceremony, 3 minutes. Having a marriage is where the work comes in. That's the longevity. That's when you have to put in that work. And again, if you're not suitable for the spouse that you are looking at, that's when I believe those things that you were mentioning, Tanya, are, those things come in, it becomes a struggle. We have a Nays comment who says, if I'm not adding something to his life, I have done a disservice to both of us. Yes, Anae, I'm about to send you an offering for real. You need an offering and a juice, because that right there is so true. And that's the way that we have to be with each other. If we go into it with that mindset, how much greater would our relationships be? But again, I believe because we as women have been given this picture of Boaz and what he's supposed to do for us, that sometimes we forget that we have to build ourselves up to serve him as well. And that creates friction in a relationship. Donald says, yep, love takes work daily. And I agree. So I want to switch. Mom, I didn't give you a chance to say. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I'm a little off today, y'all. So y'all pray for me. Say the enemy been working. He's been working today, but I got news for him. It's okay. He's doing his job and I'm doing mine. It's all right. We here. And I hope that this conversation will get out to those who need to hear it, and that it reaches those that it should. And as always, we want to thank you for joining us. We're not done yet, but I wanted to pause to thank you for joining us and to ask you to do that wonderful trio, like, subscribe, and share, so that we can continue to share this great conversations like these and great content across, because somebody needs to hear it. I know it's not what we've always been taught, but I believe that in this time and in this age, we really have to start peeling apart the things that we have been taught. We've been taught surface things without really the knowledge of them. So we've been applying them incorrectly. A lot of people, some people would never read the Bible, to really dig in and understand what the real point of that story is. So now we're looking for this Boaz to be our, be our provider and, give us everything we need and this and that, not understanding that his real purpose is to redeem, what belongs or what we should have. He's pulling back, he's redeeming for us. And I just think we have to. We have Bravo Sheila, wonderful chat. Bravo, thank you, Auntie Bravo. We give her a bravo. And then I'm always so grateful for her yielding this Thursday night to let me hold down the captain's chair for a little while. I'm trying to hang in there, y'all. We have Michelle Roach. She says listening and hearing is key, and that is so true. And I'm only really stressing this. And, again, my notes are all over the place because, again, my technology just had its way. So we freestyling tonight. So I hope we're good. But one of the things that I learned this at a marriage retreat when I was married, is we had to repeat. It was an exercise where our spouse said something to us and we had to repeat what they said to us. So my husband at the time, he said something like, he may have said, "Oh, your shoes are blue." And what I repeated was, "You don't like my shoes." Because what he said and what I heard, was two different things, because I think it's like, well, why you got to point out that my shoes are blue? Listening and hearing like, what you don't like the blue, you don't like the shoe, you don't like what, So sometimes the way people say things and the way that we hear them could be totally different. And listening and hearing in a relationship of all kinds is very important. And I've learned to now take a moment. And what I was hearing was my own. He said one thing, I heard something negative.
Right.
And that had nothing to do with him. That was all about me. And they were like, but what did he say? He said he didn't like my shoes. And it was like, where did he say that? I was like, because he said, oh, you have on blue shoes.
Mm-hmm.
Don't talk about me, Mom. Don't talk about me. But my thing was, I was conscious. I was very self-conscious about it. So, I was inflicting my thoughts onto him when all he was saying was, oh, you have on blue shoes, not realizing you don't wear blue shoes often. So it was like, oh, so listening and hearing is very important, and the way we comprehend in these relationships. And it's only going to bring us closer together. But again, that is the work that comes in relationships, and not just in marriages, but relationships of all kinds. And so, that's a very important key. I believe we had another comment, and I appreciate y'all hanging in there with us tonight, or with me, bearing with me through the struggles tonight. And we want to welcome Von Eric. Hey, brother Von Eric, we appreciate you. Michelle Roach says, amazing topic and interaction. My brother says, see what y'all do. He said, again, this is what y'all do. This is what we do. The men say one thing and we hear something else. I know I did. How many did you do that, Tanya? Did you do that?
I mean, I thought about when you said that. And I think one time,
Oh,
can you hear me?
No, I'm saying I saw you take a pause there.
Yeah, because I was listening, because I was going to say I could piggyback off that comment when you think about listening and hearing. Because now, what I try to do when someone is speaking to me and I feel like I'm about to become offended, I have to take a deep breath and say, okay, so what I heard you say, and I have to literally repeat back what they said so that it is no misinterpretation. Because I remember, like when I was married, one time, because I always get my hair done. And I think the comment was, oh, you did something different with your hair. It was something about like that. And I automatically thought, he don't like my hair, because the comment was, oh, your hair's different, or, oh, you did something different. And so it made me think, oh, he doesn't like my, oh, you don't like it? And it's like, no, I just didn't like it, but that's what I felt, because I thought, so it's those things when you learn, you have to, those are growing pains. You have to learn how to, the person, no, I didn't say that. And then you have to, be able to say, well, no, they didn't say that.
Right.
That's how you interpret it, and that's how you felt. So as you grow, you have to, what I do now is, there's a comment, there's something being said, and if I start feel, because I could feel in the inside when the Lord's like, okay, no, don't get offended, and that's something, that spirit of offense, I have to pray against, because, right away, and I'll say, okay, so let me clarify. So what I heard you say was, and I have to repeat back, so now they can explain what they're saying, so I can make sure that I'm clear and I'm hearing. So I heard, you said, and no, I didn't say that. Okay, I want to hear what you really said.
So. Right. So what did you say?
Right. Sometimes, when you know your person, and they can be sarcastic, so their little statements and what they mean, and then then what you said is founded, can be founded. It's not always erroneous. Sometimes it is valid. Dawn's father was the
king of sarcasm.
Oh my gosh, there was nothing complimentary that came out of his mouth. So you weren't never mistaken about anything that he said. So her comment to him would have been on point, because he would have definitely, that would have been true.
Yeah.
And I feel like
That's why we have
a natural sarcastic type of personality. Some people just naturally are more sarcastic. And so if your personality, you know, then it's like you are going to get it. Like now, you know, you was being sarcastic, but for them, it's they are thinking it's funny, but you're not finding it funny.
No.
So, you know, all of that, again, are we suitable for one another? Because after a while, that's going to, now both people kind of grow. You know, sometimes I meet, you know, you think about longevity and meeting couples who have been together 30 and 20 and 30 and 40 years, where they know this is how the person is and they've grown to that. But at the beginning, it wasn't funny to them either, but they have grown to accept some things and like, you know, that's how he is or that whatever, you know, but I'm sure that took a time to get there. You know, we know anybody who has weathered the storm of a, you know, relationships 10, 20, 30, 40, there's growing pains within all of that. And so, you know, there's some learning and growing, but yeah, that sarcastic personality can really get on somebody's nerves. Yeah.
And unfortunately, there are 4 children that were reproduced. Right? All of us have that sarcastic trait in us, you know, because listen, that's how we survive. We had thick skin at that point. You 5 years old, you got thick skin, you know, stuff roll off you like water off a duck at that point. But again, you know, that, and I know, you know, we haven't veered off our course, guys, but it lends to the point of being suitable. You have to know what you can handle, what you have the capacity for, because it might be cute in the beginning because, you know, you enamored by his or her looks or whatever else it may be, or you get the butterflies that my mother talked about a while back, you know, all those little things, and you want to stay up on the phone. So you let those things slide because you're so in love, you know, at the moment you're in the honeymoon stage of the relationship. But when you get to the anniversary point, you know, when the honeymoon, like we plateaued, and bruh, that ain't cute no more. Like, you know, now I want to punch you in the mouth right on the corner, you know, because now you're talking stuff. But are you real? Right? But are you suitable for that? You know, do you have the capacity to manage that, knowing that this is, again, like I said, how a person is? So we have to know our balances. And these are points that we really don't bring up and we don't like to talk about because we want what we want, you know, and so we try to force it to fit what we want. But if we stop and listen to, say, a Naomi in our lives, that would be like, baby girl, I'm telling you, you know, like you doing your best fake face right now, but you ain't gonna be able to, because what sounds sweet now is gonna sound offensive later, you know. And so you have to know who you are. And you have to be mindful, you know, again, of who you are and what you do. So, you know, I hope you guys are enjoying the conversation. We are enjoying bringing it to you. And I think you had another comment and say, okay, my brother was cutting up, agreeing with what we said about my dad. My father is very sarcastic, and I have to learn how to catch myself. There was a post on Facebook. This is how I catch myself, Tanya. Like you said, I stop myself and I say, okay, so what I heard you say is, and is this, and I do it with everybody now, because I know the minute I start hearing, and a lot of times I'm just hearing what I don't like and what I don't want to hear. So I'm instantly irritated. I start becoming vexed. It's not the person, because the person said what they said. And I'm like, so what you saying to me is, and this is what you mean. Okay. All right. And then I want to respond. But there was a post on Facebook of the guy walking across like his room, storming off, going to say something to somebody who had offended him. And then you see the same guy, he said, and this is the Holy Spirit following after me to stop me from saying it, with a pan in his hand, get ready to knock him in his head, be like, don't say that, you know, because that's me all day. That's me all day. Holy Spirit has to arrest my mouth sometimes, you know, but it's to learn, because I'm learning my capacity at this stage in my life, and our capacity changes. But again, you know, we're hoping that this conversation is helpful, because it's important that we understand what we want, what we're asking for, And are we suitable for it? And that's for men and women. It's not just women, it's men and women.
That's right.
And I've kind of learned in relationships, my thinking kind of changes sometimes when it comes to people saying, what, God giving you a husband, and I don't really want to, I'm not even gonna mention it because I don't really want to veer off. But people say, God gives you a husband and God gives you this and God gives you, and he does give us a lot of things. He gives us a desire. He allows us to have a preference. But sometimes I feel like if he didn't force salvation on us,
That's right.
the one most important thing, he is not going to force a particular mate on you. He gives you the choice to choose. He gives you the freedom to choose.
Yep.
And we make these choices. God may say, this is what I want for you, but we have to make that choice. But when he presents it, we have to be open to it and to receive it. This situation with Boaz and Ruth and Naomi, it was a situation that was presented. Ruth could have very well been like, I'm not doing that.
Right. Yeah.
I'll follow you. And he's cute, but we good where we at. We good. He's taking care of us. We in his house, like, why do I have to go through all of this and marry him? Why do I have to present myself in this way? Why do I have to?
Mm-hmm.
But, she had a choice, and we have choices, and we have to be mindful of the choices that we're given. Now, I want to veer to another couple in the Bible, because again, I don't think that Boaz and Ruth is the relationship goals model for everybody, because everybody doesn't fit that bill. Truth be told, we stir in the pot, So there's another couple in the Bible by Hosea and Gomer that a lot of people don't know about. I would fair to say, I haven't surveyed, so I'm not saying everybody. Are you familiar with the story of Hosea and Gomer?
You have to remind. Okay. I know the names, but I'm not sure if I understand.
Gotcha. It's okay. So Hosea and Gomer. Hosea, he was a prophet. He was a reputable man. He was well known. Again, another man of prestige, man of wealth, integral, well known. He was righteous. All of that, like, that's the dude that you want. Like, he's like Boaz, font 54, like to the 10th power. And God told him to marry a woman named Gomer. Now, the issue with that, and God told him this. God told him that. Ruth, Naomi, Boaz, God didn't tell him that. That's just what they did. And they worked it out. Again, because it was about land, not necessarily about love. In this story, God told the prophet to go and marry Gomer. And the problem with Gomer is that she was a woman of the street. And he's like, Lord, you sure? Like, hold on. He has kept himself right. She was a street lady. She's streetwalker. She's, free spirit, however you want to put it. But God told him, to go and marry her. And the point of that was to show that God is, he's married to the backslider, that he is, again, he's a redeemer of us. Right. Somebody who said, Von Eric said, I was trying to find a diplomatic way to say it, but yes, thank you, Von Eric. He said she was a harlot. Yes, that is what the Bible says.
Yes,
She was that. So you would think, God, like, what was you thinking, God, to put this reputable prophet, your mouthpiece, with the women in the street? Like, who does that, God? Like, what? You would think you hook him up with, the finest queen or something. But God said no. He made that choice. And this is a situation where he did assign, him to marry someone for a point and for a purpose. The reason why I bring them up is because Gomer did a lot of things in their marriage. She cheated on him, and this is just to paraphrase and making sure. She cheated on him. She left him with the kids and all of that, and she went back into the streets. She was with other men, and every time she did, he would have to go get her, and he kept going to get her, and he kept going to get her. And that's how God does us. He keeps coming to get us every time we do so. So, the relationship was symbolic, again, of God being married to the backslider and being a redeemer and pulling us back. The reason why I'm bringing this up in this situation is because in this relationship, one of the key things is that he loved her beyond, and he did love her. He loved her beyond her past. And some of us need to be with people who can love us beyond our past. But because she was still dealing with her past was still her present. She was still going through some things. There's still a lot of residue. She's still working through, what she had been brought up in, or the life that she chose, and some of us, we're still dealing with some stuff and some residue of, the choices that we made and the lives that we lived. And we need someone to love us beyond our past, but we don't see that as an option because nobody talks about the Hosea and Gomer relationship. We're still chasing after Boaz.
Right.
Not realizing, I hope I'm helping somebody, not realizing that, again, some of us, Ruth was good. She served well. She served her husband unto death. She was reputable. She didn't have a jaded past, none of that. Some of us, we don't have that clean slate. Some of us didn't do follow to the T. But we need to know that there's still an option for you to marry or be with someone of a reputable character, a reputable reputation, or of a profitable stance. It's not that we don't have that option. It's possible for you, and God shows it through this example. But again, we're so busy still chasing after Boaz that there's a Hosea waiting for you right here. Someone who's going to love you beyond your past, and love you beyond. He loved her beyond her loyalty to him, because she was not loyal at all. And some of us in relationships and marriages, we still struggle through some things. Right. And we need someone who is going to love us beyond us being loyal. Because every time, and it doesn't mean that we had to be a harlot, so to speak, but some of us have some things that we still carry that cause us to be unloyal, you know what I'm saying, in our relationship, whether it's emotionally, mentally, in our behavior, in the way that we talk, so I want to pause that. I want your input or your feedback with what we shared.
Well, again, like I said before, you have to be ready for whatever it is that you're asking for, right? And in the sense of Hosea was a righteous man, and it's because he was righteous that God told him to go and marry a harlot. If you had, you got two people on crack, they're not going to make it. But if you have someone that has either been out there and now they're delivered, they're now ready to take on this responsibility. And it doesn't seem, it seems more suitable that someone that's been out there is more suitable than someone that's never been out there. But not so, because Hosea was custom made for that.
Right.
All he had was love. That's all he had. That's all that God has. Is love. And I mean, even when, okay, so she was a harlot. The guy, if she didn't marry Hosea, whoever she married, he has a past too. So it's not always about, you taking on the woman and she's got this sort of past, let's talk about your stuff, right. And there's some stuff from you that I'm going to have to deal with, as you're dealing with me. But, one of the things I say this, God said to me when I said, Lord, after first marriage, I was like, you know what? I am never going to make this decision again. The rude awakening it wasn't your decision to make. It was, you don't go looking for the man. I'm preparing you for him to find you. And then you stop asking me for a husband. We don't want Boaz. We want someone with the character of Boaz. We don't want Hosea. We want someone with the character of Hosea that's like God. you know, and that's what he said. Don't ask me for a husband. You already had a husband, you know, and A. Okay. But ask me for the right one. And that's the whole key. The right man doesn't necessarily have to look away. He don't have to have any of that stuff. He just has to be able to, you know, to make things work, you know, to love you like Christ loved the church. And, you know, you don't have to have a 780, you know, credit score. But if you could get it, you know, that's fine too. But you don't have to come with it. Why you can't have that credit score? No, I'm just saying, you know, we don't have a list. Of all the gifts that God has given to us, the only one that will remain is love. So if you love me enough, you'll see that I'm hungry. You go get a job.
Right. Well, you should have that before, yes, you know, but yes, you should. It's about meeting that need, and we all have to love each other beyond our past, plain and simple, you know. And again, I think it's important that we see these two relationships in contrast to each other, because some of us have never heard that before. Right. So we keep thinking that our past is locking us and blocking us from having a good person or a great person. And some of us that are good and great people, we need to be mindful that there's someone that needs what you have, you know, in order for them. And that's part of what makes us suitable also for each other. You know, balance isn't always equal. You know, if you look at the scale, sometimes it's going to be, you know, 60-40, 70-30. But at the end of the day, it equals. And sometimes we're going to be on the Hosea side. Sometimes we're going to be on the Gomer side. Sometimes we might be, you know, so it's all a matter of perspective and where we are in life. What do you want to add, Tanya?
The story reminds me of listening to, you know, Pastor Joyce Myers, her husband, making a comment about how when he prayed to the Lord all those years ago, he said, Lord, give me a wife that I can help. And when he met Joyce Myers at the time, she had just gotten divorced, had a child, and his first interaction with him was kind of spicy. And he said, oh, I guess she's it, you know. So, but, you know, he said he prayed, but, you know, and what happened after that, there was years of, you know, she talked about how she was something else. And it took a long time for her to grow into, you know, who she eventually evolved into after years. But, you know, that reminds me of that. So in which, you know, you shared, Lady Dawn, and Pastor Rosa, is so important because, you know, it's a back and forth thing. You know, everybody has something that they can offer the other person if they're open to it, you know. So not everybody, and sometimes, you know, people are like, oh, 50-50, and every day somebody might really be at a 20, but do you have somebody that's going to love you enough, and they, you know, they're at, you know, they're at 80, and they can help to carry you through, you know. And, you know, there's some days, you know, you know, it might be 50-50, but there may be some days, you know, if you're sick and down and out, you don't have anything really. And that
might be at a 3.
Exactly. They love you enough, you know, to help to carry you through. So, you know, I have to study some, you know, read up more on Hosea and Gomer, because I knew the names, but I was not clear on that relationship dynamic. But there are many people that come with, they don't have to be a harlot, like you said, but they may have trauma or baggage that they are coming, male or female, and, you know, trauma, baggage. But is there something in that person that you can, you know, love them beyond that? And are you suitable for one another? That suitable piece is important, because not everybody, you know, some people can't handle the trauma or the baggage that another person brings. With somebody else, it will be so calming to them. You know, people sometimes meet people and they're like, it feels like this is somebody I knew forever, and they were able to, you know, connect and build a relationship, and, you know, go forward together. So,
no, and I thank you for that share, and it's true. And that's why I wanted to bring it up in the respect of this relationship, and in the the conversation of, this Boaz syndrome that we have, because again, it's been embedded to us. Everybody, just about, if you go to church, you've heard, but nobody knows about the other side, because we're all in a work. We are all a work in progress. We are all on our journey to get somewhere. Healing is a continual process. So you, at the point of my life that you come in, or at the point of your life that I enter, I'm only as healed as the day you met me, and sometimes it might take you to help me through the rest of my healing. Sometimes we have to learn to love each other to better. But if a woman has never heard, if she's lived that past, or if a man has gone through those traumas and has never heard that there is still an option or an opportunity, like your past does not count you out from having a good and healthy relationship, with a respectful, integral, authentic person, you automatically would disqualify yourself from that, and you wouldn't even aim for it. And those are the things that, I'm hoping that this conversation helps to pull off of people, and just open up the mindset to understand that it doesn't matter, where you are. Don't get so locked into, again, that's not the only one relationship goal that you should have. They are not the poster people for all godly relationships, because Hosea and Gomer was more of a godly relationship, in my opinion, than Boaz and Ruth, because God was in that. God gave his instruction in that. The Bible doesn't mention anything about what God said, or God didn't tell them anything. It's just telling the story of what happened with them. But Hosea and Gomer was God's set. It was an assignment. So we have to keep those things in mind. I just want to read some more comments. Welcome, Lady Navoa. So glad you could join us on tonight. And I want to say thank you, everyone. We're going to wrap up in a few minutes. But I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. We're hoping that this conversation has been great. We are enjoying our Thursday nights with the Bravo with Sheila Network. I hope you do the trio for us, which is like, subscribe, and share, so that this great conversation can get out to those who need it. We're going to ask you to subscribe so that you don't miss any of the great conversations that go on Tuesday or Thursday nights. And we hope that this information is helpful and opening some just starting to, soften some places and open up a little bit more understanding. We want to thank those who are up in the silent seats on tonight as well. We see you and we thank you for being there. Anae says, this has been great. Thank you, Anae. Bravo to you. Thank you. I'm doing my good best on tonight. My good best. I see another comment. I just want to read these two, and then we're gonna wrap up. Because I know it's a lot, and it's of a different tone of a conversation on tonight. And on Thursday nights, sometimes it's gonna be hot like fire, other times it's gonna be a slow simmer. We want to balance it out. Looking forward to some great things that are also coming up, and we're going to share in a minute. There's a comment from Michelle Roach that says, we need to be true to ourselves. Once you say I do, I expect you to embrace my past, love me through my past. I will do the same. And there is a second comment from Michelle Roach, says, don't tell me what I want to hear. To keep my attention, and then later in the relationship, tell me you never told me that. I didn't know that. Good point. Right. We have to be honest, and upfront about the things that we go through upfront with our partner. I feel like, all relationships are only as strong as the truth that they can hold. And if I can't tell you my absolute truth, then I have to question the weight of our relationship. And sometimes we have to slow down. So again, I hope that the conversation that we've had so far has been helpful in opening up some more understanding. Because again, here on the Bravo with Sheila platform, our goal is to get you from pain to power and from power to victory. Here on Thursday nights, you want to have real talk with real resolutions. So my hope is that what we have shared on tonight has opened up some more understanding and helped you to understand that there are other options, not necessarily alternate options, but there is a suitable mate for you, for everyone out there somewhere, for those who want one. I do believe there's one out there for you somewhere. Just got to let him find you, or you got to find her. But hopefully it will make you rethink some of the people that we have overlooked in our lives. And understanding that if that person is in your path, maybe God allowed your path. What is the purpose of your path crossing? Donald says this one was on barbecue. Was it hot? It wasn't a slow story. It was on barbecue. I'll take it, bro. I'll take it to a 4. I will take it. We barbecue it tonight. Have some good smoke stuff. All right. Because again, we want to really bring understanding, so that we can make better choices and know that we have different options. And trust me, the men are coming back. They're coming back. I'm gonna say that in a minute. One of the last things that I want to share, and then I want to allow the ladies to share their handles, tell people how they can reach you, what you're doing, and what's going on, is that I was in a room on Clubhouse and I was listening into some preaching that was going on, and I want the women to understand something, and I'm going to share it the way I heard it. Might be paraphrasing a little bit, but in the point of these two conversations, or these two examples, we don't have to try to be every woman. You don't have to keep adjusting ourselves, and this is for men too, but you don't have to keep adjusting yourself to, because this is the person you want to be with. You don't have to adjust to be with them, and then that doesn't work out, so you end up with someone else and you adjust to be with them, and then it doesn't work out, so and you're constantly being on a revolving pedestal, just trying to force yourself to fit somewhere that may not be the suitable space for you. Yes, there's going to be some alterations. Yes, there's going to be some tweaks that we have to make, some adjustments. That's with life, period. We have to do it with ourselves. So naturally, when you're in a relationship, you're going to have to do it. It's adjustments and it's a part of the work. But when we're trying to be a whole bunch of things that we were not designed to be, is where we have the most weight, the most struggle, and the most dissatisfaction. So one of the things that I heard in this room, and I want to share, came from Pastor Thaddeus Douglas. He was talking about the Proverbs 31 woman. And that's another good thing, another good point or place to really research and reference, because when you research and reference it, you'll find that it was written by a mother who, these were the things that she wanted in a wife for her husband, a Jewish mother who these are the things that she wanted. These are the things that she wanted in a wife for her son. I'm sorry, all right, not for her husband, for her son. But Pastor Thaddeus said, a lot of the problem with us as women is that we are trying to be this whole list, the Proverbs 31 woman. And he said, maybe you weren't meant to be the whole chapter. Instead, try being just a verse. I said, oh, okay. Because there was many things. We will never hit all of those marks and points, but find the verse in there that relates to you, and be that best woman, or be that, well, in this case, that best woman that you can be, instead of trying to make yourself. And again, please hear me clearly. It's not to say don't try to be your very best. Every day you should be being your best. The sky is the limit and beyond. We're forever evolving. But we have to start taking some of the pressure off to be everything at one time, and instead focus on being one thing at this time, and then building on that. So I hope that helps, and maybe we'll start looking at the word a little differently, and we'll start growing in a whole different way than we have been. So again, I want to thank everybody for joining us on tonight. I hope that this conversation has been helpful, informative, a blessing. Hope it has stirred some thoughts in your mind and in your heart for you to fall back on. It's the Boaz syndrome. Are you a suitable Ruth? At the end of the day, it's finding what you are suitable for and matching yourself with it for where you are today and beyond, where we are growing to. So I want to thank everybody again. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And I'm going to give our last words to our fellow Bravettes, my fellow Bravettes. And I'm going to ask you just to give your handles, how people can reach you. Do you have anything going on right now? I'm going to start with Tanya, and then I'm going to give it to my mom.
Hi, so I'm an educator, but you can see me on TikTok at Tanya Williams, lowercase d is there. I was trying to write in the chat. I don't know what was happening. It wasn't letting me, but Tanya Williams, D.
You're in our private chat.
Yes, I kept, it would not allow me just to write in a regular chat. Lowercase d, 365. I come with different tips and encouragement messages, little messages. So join me there on TikTok for some inspirational messages. So thank you everyone for joining us tonight.
And what are your final thoughts on this subject and topic? If you could tell them one takeaway or one bit of advice.
Just the point of making sure that we are also suitable for whoever it is that we are in relationship with. So, having that real honest conversation with our own selves to make sure like we're ready to be in a relationship. Sometimes we're wanting things and we're not really ready and suitable. So are we suitable? Reflecting. And then when we get into a relationship with the person, and as time goes on, am I suitable for this person? And is this person really suitable for me? And I think once you really lean into that, then you can make the best choice for yourself and ultimately for one another.
Thank you for that, Tanya. All right, Pastor Rosa, tell the good people how they can reach you and what is going on. What do you have coming up?
Well, right now, I'm preparing myself for my doctorate. I really didn't want to do this, but my loving daughter encouraged me, and God signed off on it.
You're welcome.
I'm getting ready to do that. I also have officially established my ministry, which is Reach and Restore Women's Ministry, and my email is there, griffinrosa07@gmail.com. The ministry is about women in crisis. So if you're interested, if you'd like to find out what type of services, feel free to contact me at my email. And my final comment is, this is not just about Christians. This is just about people. The shows is about people. We all face the same issues. It's just that we made a choice that at a certain point in our lives that we were going to live for God. And this is where we are. But we have the same problem. The thing that I would say is, many times we read the Bible and we really don't even have full concept of what the Bible is saying. For instance, a lot of pastors were teaching that Ruth and her sister-in-law were sisters, but they weren't. They were both Moabite women. So we have to be very, very careful in reading the scripture, not to principles that this is what God is saying, because in the Bible is true that these things happen, but everything in the Bible is not true. It's not true that God said these things, but everything in the Bible is true that it occurred, and one of the things as Dawn was saying with Proverbs 31 woman, for instance, is that as she said, a Jewish mother wrote this list of things that her son should desire should he become king. And so we've been going with this thinking that as a Christian woman, this is what we're supposed to, go by. And we've been going by that, totally being disillusioned when all God asked for us to do. One of the things that I remember is asking us to be modest. You know, it's not that you can't wear lipstick, you can't wear dresses. Do it in modesty because we represent God. So I'm just saying, be careful when we're reading the word of God that we are getting the truth in it.
Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Tanya. Thank you, everyone. We hope this conversation of Bravo, Boaz Syndrome, Are You a Suitable Ruth, again, has opened up some insights and caused a little bit more understanding as to how we are, what our options are. And I would just say, again, the key that sticks with me and that I will share with you on tonight is that be honest with yourself, as Tanya was saying, an honest self-assessment. And when you do that, you'll be able to make a better decision as to who and what you are suitable for, what your capacity is in relationships, not just with men, but or with women, but with people in general. We are always in a place of being better. So do what you need to do to be the best you every day. And when you do that, who's for you will come to you. Your village is very delicate. And I would say, don't push off finding a Naomi in your life. But when God assigns you a Naomi, listen. Save yourself the trouble and listen. So that's where we end our show on tonight. Those are my final comments. I am your Thursday night host, Lady Dawn B. I can be reached at Lady Dawn B, the number 19 at gmail.com. We love you, Anae. We love you, Von Eric. We love you, Donald and Michelle, and all of the Bravettes and the Brave brothers and those up in the silent seats. We really do love and appreciate you. We are on every Tuesday night. I am in the co-host seat, and on thank God, one of my classes is over, so I'm able to dip in on Tuesdays for a little bit until my next class starts. Still going on, but I finished the first 7 o'clock class, so Tuesdays I can dip on for a little bit of time, and on Thursday nights, I want you to continue to join us here at 7 p.m. Continue to like, subscribe, and share. We are having great conversation. I will hope that you join us here next Thursday at 7 p.m. We'll be back with another great conversation. Next week is it a trigger or is it a challenge? Because sometimes things that we are labeling as triggers are not really a trigger. It's really just something that has come up that is challenging us. It might be rubbing us a little hard and feel uncomfortable, but it's really a challenge. So we're going to have that conversation so that we can define, because, everybody's triggered, but I think that's the real buzzword today is everything is triggering, trigger. So we look forward to coming back next Thursday at 7 o'clock. And also join me next. Thank you, Von Eric. Much love to you. It's a great topic. Much wisdom, queens. Thank you, King. Before this month is out, we are going to have I don't know if y'all remember, but we had the brothers on a couple of weeks ago. He said, we brought the men's lounge in and said, let the men speak. So we would not dare leave the month of June without bringing the ladies and the men together to wrap it up. So that conversation is going to be fire. We are going to have a Bravo versus. So it's going to be the ladies' room versus the men's lounge. And we're going to chop it up. You don't want to miss that one. I promise you. We're going to have Lady Tanya. We're going to have Pastor Rosa. We're going to have my brother. We're going to have Brother Eric. We're going to have all the men come back. It's going to be amazing. I'm excited for that one. So I believe that is everything. If I missed anything, please let me know. But again, I appreciate you. We love you. We appreciate you. Continue to like, subscribe, and share, and join us for great conversation. And oh yes, but we would be remiss. Today is Thursday. We want to wish all the men, all the brave brothers out there, a happy Father's Day this weekend. We pray that you are honored and loved on and treated well, not just on Sunday, but may Sunday be the beginning of a change, a year of the same treatment that you get, unless it's bad treatment. We don't want that for you. So we gonna pray is good. So with that, we say good night. Thank you for tuning in. Tanya, hang out 1 second and have a great evening, everyone. God bless.